Solving multi-step compound inequalities. Inequalities can be solved in 2 or more steps using inverse operations. Inverse operations meaning solving just like we solve equations with an equal sign in them. Adding where we subtract, subtracting where we add, multiplying, dividing. Just a reminder, make sure that when you multiply or divide by a negative number, you change the inequality. And so we can use this with the and or steps that we've done before. And so here are a couple compound inequalities that we need to solve. And so we can solve this or one by solving each part. And so we would add 7 to both sides of this one. And then we would get 4x is less than 10. And so we divide by 4. And so x is less than 10/4, which we need to reduce to 5/2. So x is really less than 5/2. On the second one, same thing, same process. This is minus 19, so we add 19. And so 2x is greater than 12. And so divide by 2 on both sides, and x is greater than 6. So x is less than 5/2, or x is greater than 6. On this next one, we have an and we have them combined. So we're going to do that 3-part process. So we can add like terms here without having to do anything to all parts, because you add like terms on just one part of the equality, or inequality as this may be. So negative 9 is less than or equal to 3x plus 2x is 5x minus 4, and that's less than or equal to 11. So then solve this by adding 5 to all parts. And so you get negative 4 is less than or equal to 5x, which is less than or equal to 16. And then the last step is divide everything by 5, and it's positive 5, so we don't have to change any inequalities. So divide by 5, divide by 5. So negative 4/5 is less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to 16/5. Simplifying before solving. So sometimes we need to do distributive property and adding like terms before we can actually solve these. So on this compound one with a conjunction of and, we're going to distribute in here on the inside one. So negative 15 is less than or equal to 3 times 2x is 6x minus 3 times 1, which is 3, which is less than or equal to 39. And so then we need to get rid of the stuff in the inside so that we have x by itself. And so we have to add 3 to all parts. And so that's going to be negative 12 is less than or equal to 6x, which is less than or equal to 36. And the last part, divide everything by 6. And so negative 2 is less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to 6. On letter B, it's an or, so we've got 2 parts, so we're going to solve each part separately. So on the first one, our B is here, so we're going to add 18 to both sides. So 6 is greater than or equal to negative 6b. And we have to be careful here because now we're going to divide. We're going to divide by negative 6, and when we divide by negative 6, we have to switch that inequality. So negative 1 is less than or equal to b. And then we do the second part, and so we have some distributive property. Negative 2 times 4 and negative 2 times negative b. That's negative 8 plus b is greater than or equal to 10. And so then this is down to a 1 step. This is minus 8, so we're going to add 8 to both sides. Oh, I forgot the 2 right there. So it's a 2-step. Still, we're going to add 8 to both sides. And so we get 2b is greater than or equal to 18. Divide everything by 2. And b is greater than or equal to 9. So b is greater than or equal to 9, or b is greater than or equal to negative 1. Here's a word problem. We have zoologists randomly choosing 5 zebras out of a herd of 20. 4 zebras weigh 540 pounds, 550 pounds, 520 pounds, and 530 pounds. Recognize this problem? This is the average with one of the parts missing that you've been doing since 7th grade. And so we have that mean weight that we know we have to add those up and divide them by 5, but we're missing this x. We don't know what that last number is. But we do know that all 5 zebras need to weigh between 500 and 600 pounds. So we're going to create an inequality here with this information where 500 has to be the bottom, so it has to be greater than or equal to 500, this 540 plus 550 plus 520 plus 530 plus x all over 5, and that has to be less than or equal to 600. And so we now have this inequality that we can solve. So the first thing we're going to do is get rid of that 5 on the bottom. It's divided, so we're going to multiply everything by 5. And when I say everything, that means all parts here. So we're going to have to multiply the left side by 5, and we're going to have to multiply the right side by 5. So we get 5 times 5 is 25, and then the 2 zeros, so 2,500 is less than or equal to. And then I'm going to add up all these parts in between here. And when I do that, I get 2,140 plus x is less than or equal to, and 600 times 5, 6 times 5 is 30, so 3,000. And then I need to get x by itself still, so I minus 2,140 from all parts. And so I get 360 is less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to 860. So in other words, that zebra has to be between 360 and 860 pounds in order to maintain this average between 500 and 600 pounds.